Okay, so we're gonna do kind of a interesting VOD review. So I'm gonna focus on two players here. For two reasons. One, they're both on the same team. It's Sirsman and Buff Gramps. I believe I've done reviews for both of them as well. In the past. So we're gonna be watching how these two play. But also the reason I want to look at both of them is because it's Zarya Hanzo, which has some decent synergy to it. So we already talked about Zarya a lot in the last VOD review. But with Hanzo as well in the mix, there's a lot more things that you can do, right? You can focus down targets. You can bubble Hanzo who's getting pushed on, right? You can grab Dragon is a big one. So I want to see how these two communicate because I know they're in a group and I want to see how they play together. Right. So we'll just skip along here. I have watched this VOD review a little bit earlier. So I will be interested to see how this plays out. Okay. So high ground push. Okay. So right from the get-go, Sonic Arrow onto the Rhine. I would have preferred you Sonic Arrow just to see what the situation is onto the wall, and shoot another arrow into Rhine, but this Rhine's overextended. Right. So I like this, right? Typically with Hanzo, he's a very good spam character. He plays at a range really well. He's not like Widow where you're looking for picks. I mean, Hanzo, you do look for picks, but you're looking for picks in a different way, right? It's actually kind of parallel to Junkrat almost, where you're able to kind of spam damage through. You have some good dual winning utility with your storm arrows, right? But spamming down this choke is not bad, right? Because you know that they're coming from here. He's also got some decent shield break with his E, so you can do a lot with it. So spamming that's fine, and Zarya taking an angle that's separate from you is good as well. But somebody's gonna need to worry about that Rhine eventually. You're also up one, so this is a fight. Right? Okay, Rhine tries to get back to his team. He realizes he's messed up. Storm arrow that to break his shield a little bit. And his shield's gone now, and the fight is just beginning, and it's in favor of you, right? Right. Zarya's getting some damage in here. Now, this is the first mistake I saw from Sirsman here. So, again, Hanzo is a very range-based character. You can do a lot from range, very similar to Junkrat. This jump right here, you are getting very greedy, because look at where you at, right? Trace is on the flank. Trace has a good crossfire setup. You were holding this choke out pretty well. You're keeping the Moira at bay. But now you've stepped in front of your tanks, and watch what happens here. You get squished, right? And that 100% happens because you decided to jump in front of someone who could have bubbled you, right? She wasn't able to respond in time. I think Zarya tried to save you here and ends up bubbling someone else, right? So no, there's no value out of bubbles because you didn't take the pin. The person you thought was going to take the pin didn't take the pin. But second of all, Hanzo should never have been taking that pin. Hanzo should never have been in that position in the first place, right? So while Hanzo's down, we'll look at Zarya. Light comes out. You're bubbling people who anticipate to take damage, getting some good charge out of it. To Reinhardt, I wish you had bubble for him, but that's okay. And you get the flip on the point. So Zarya's on the point now, trying to fight that one. And Hanzo's still up here. Right, so this is great headshot. Right, this is good. Right, so what's happening here? When we look at this situation, Hanzo's got a nice sight line on the point. Zarya's actually not in a great position to get healing from Baptiste. Zarya's probably going to die in a second here. But there's some angles coming out. I'm going to focus on Hanzo here. Right. Hanzo's able to get some damage in. Shatter comes through. Zarya dies, right? Okay. So Zarya wasn't in a position to get help. But Hanzo did his job pretty okay here, I think. And your team's stalling out to make sure that they get as much time on the point as possible. Not bad.
I must redeem myself.
Make sure I start.
See
Okay.
through the wolf's eyes.
Right. So now look at this situation. Right. We'll go back. We'll spectate overlay. Right. So what's happening here? Ryan's getting a little greedy. He's going forward, right? This is something that's punishable. Yeah, he has to back out. He's so low, right? Hanzo is going to take a crossfire, I hope, here. I'm not too worried about what's going on, man. I do want to focus more on the Hanzo here, because we haven't done a Hanzo VOD yet. Alright, so right here is another thing I noticed, right? So you're taking shots that aren't really going to do much here. You should be trying to get in and getting a crossfire. And I think you notice that, and then the Reaper is here guarding the flank. So this is a duel that you end up having to take. Right. You're so worried about this Reaper, he's already gotten out, right? So if you just fired that Sonic Arrow into a place where, like, you know, where are the corners here, right? Where did you last see the Reaper? Okay, you know Reaper's there. You see him advancing. You know where he is approximately. Sonic this wall, right? Sonic this wall so you see where he goes, right? And that way you have the information. Because if you know that he's leaving you alone, you can start pushing and getting that crossfire. And if you know that he's coming for you, you can line up a shot, right? So that Sonic Arrow just needs to go right into the corner, like as soon as you can. Instead you're like physically looking around while things are happening to your team.
The wolf marks.
You let it fly. It's like, okay.
Die.
I think when you hear this death blossom, you realize, oh, he's not going to be at all. This is kind of an interesting angle. Don't mind this, but you do get killed for it. Right, so your push was not in sync with the rest of your team, and you didn't use your utility well. But also, actually, I meant to review this before I even go into the Reaper duel, right? The reason you didn't have Sonic Arrow there is because you did this.
I must redeem myself.
Right. Why'd you have Sonic Arrow?
See through the wolf's
You shot at people
eyes.
that you knew were getting fought, right? Like nobody needs to see around that corner. They're all in main. Like, this gives you information, but it's not information that's helpful to your team, right? So the Sonic Arrow is kind of a waste. And you waste Sonic Arrow a couple times here, actually. I meant to go back and do this. Okay, so your team loses that push. You weren't set up.
I am not deterred.
Okay, that Sonic Arrow's not gonna do anything, bud. Like, I think you and I both know that. So it's a little bit of a waste. And what happens here? Big Bad Reaper. And you didn't know about it. So you try to take this duel. You panic and you load a Sonic Arrow, and then you Stormbow. Like, this is you sweating. You're scared. And then you kill the Reaper. And the only reason you kill the Reaper is because I think he's as scared of you as you are of him. Which doesn't make sense. But he is not sure what to do here. He, like, whiffs 2 or 3 shots. And he has to reload. Like, he had to reload in that moment. If he had one more shot, there's a good chance he would have killed you. Just being a point blank. So you kind of lucked out there. But now that this guy's down, your team should be going. It looks like they're starting to set up main. You have also here Grab Dragon. I want to see you two combo this because I know you two are in a call together. You're playing together, right? So what happens? All right, they're falling back. Rounds 1. Okay, dragons are coming out. Is Grab gonna come out? It does, but it's way back here, right? So the dragon does get some value. It splits the team. It kills the Mercy, right? What would have been a better time for this Grab to come out? Let's check.
That's more like it.
You took a Mega that you didn't really need. You bubbled this guy before he was going to take damage. Okay, he gets some value out of it. And you grab the McCree back there. What would have been a better time? Probably something like here, right? If you lobbed it right here when the shield broke, you could have gotten Ryan, Moira, maybe some people in the back if you threw it far, and you could have clumped them together. But what this shows me is that you like knew that Grab Dragon might work because you're trying to gauge where the dragons are going, and then you just throw it too far, right? Like, so this was a plan, but it wasn't communicated. Does that make sense? Right? Neither of you were really sure how you wanted to use it.
The wolf.
So you get value out of that. You save your friend. Good job. Nice headshot. Like you end up you just like turn on in that moment, which I think is really cool. Like you get the lineup really well. And you come from the flank that they're not able to handle. So good job. I like that. This is a good Sonic arrow. Right. It's a good intent. It lets you know if they're in the room right away. Right. But it doesn't, you don't know whether or not they're pushing. So again, once more, you're frontlining again, right? Look at this spectate overlay. Where are your tanks? Not in front of you. Where are you? Leading the charge in a choke. Right? There's a good chance you get pushed here. Okay. Send some shots. Spam damage coming out again. Nice. Ryan gets killed. Ryan through. We're resing it. This one is pretty decent. Alright, so this is fine. You're playing at range, nobody's threatening you. The one thing I would suggest, and because of how this choke works, it's not really such a big deal. I would suggest that, McCree be on a flank, right, taking shots over this way. But also, like, getting an angle set up so that in case they drop, you're able to do a little bit more about that. If someone comes to main or someone flanks, you're able to do a little bit more about that, because they do have Soldier and they do have Reaper. So a flank is now the question. I don't like that you're holding the same angle. I know we talked about map control last practice, but this is right. This isn't the worst thing in the world, given the situation. Okay, McCree feeds. McCree did exactly what you did in that first fight, where he got greedy and went in. Good shot. I heard Reaper. Step behind you. Right there. Right. Okay, so you saw Reaper fall. You kind of lose track of him. You Sonic Room again. Right. Reaper gets on your back line, goes release again. Now, what could have been done to prevent this? Alright, that's kind of a bad check, right? You're like looking at this bridge most of the time, and he just sneaks right underneath you. And he goes for this mega pack, right? Like, you really didn't look around at all for him. Watch. You hear him moving. You're looking at the bridge mostly. Like, actually look around next time. Especially when you hear him like that. You kind of just give up. Like, you look everywhere except where he is. And now you see him. And you've just bubbled someone else. And who'd you bubble? Right? You just bubbled the Ryan or the hog that was pushing up because you thought he was gonna take damage. So, yeah, both of you could have done a little bit more to counter this Reaper, just to check him, whether it's positioning or better bubble usage. Like Lucio dies, but he just gets out. Well, he dies. Okay, not terrible. But now they switch their rotation. I don't mind this. You're spamming the choke. Sorry, he's fighting on point. Oh wait, you just killed the soldier. All right, nice shot. He wasn't ready for that. Dragon's a little awkward. But the arrows are good, right? Your shots are landing, right? So the dragon was a little bit wasted, but that's okay.
The wolf marks his prey.
You're predicting that they're gonna go up there. You see that they're not. You're watching main, right? So like that's a good example, right? Of what'd you do here? I think you set up exactly the crossfire that we were talking about last practice, right? Because look at this. You are ready for whichever way they come from, and you're going to be able to respond accordingly. Because Lucio's going to be able to speed people around. Somebody's watching main. Now, like, there's a good chance that you die here, right? Because you're so far forward. But you had sights on what was happening, so you're able to respond. And you killed the guy who would have gotten on the point. So good job. Decent hold. Watch Sanctum. Alright. So I like what you're doing there, where you're getting that crossfire, again, word of the day. Getting that angle on, right? Right here, what I would have liked you to do is the same thing that you're doing earlier, where you're just spamming down main, right? Pressure that Rhine shield. Hanzo does a surprising amount of pressure. playing right there would have allowed you to prevent them from taking the pillars, right? And who are they trying to set up for? Probably that soldier, right?
The objective is now
Okay.
active.
So Zarya steps on the point. You die. Why? Why'd you die? Oh, you're in a duel with this soldier. Shooting shields, shooting hog. You're getting a lot of damage in. Yeah, you take a lot of damage at once and you jump to the fire strike. You just weren't watching for it.
I claim this objective.
Alright, deal.
Get in there.
Not a great bubble. Lucia's not in danger in the corner. That's why he's in the corner. I'm surprised that hog doesn't kill you. That Peace wants to keep this fight going. He gets you out, actually. Decent bubble there. Not ideal bubble there. You should have had that ready to go for your BAP to make sure he gets out. Again, like same thing that we were talking about with the Light Mage earlier in the stream. Being ready to bubble people who. All right, you get domed. Fight's over. And then you almost get killed here because you try to take a fight that was lost, right? They're pushing at you and you try to push back. Doesn't work like that. Good combo with the hog, you're ready to respond. Right? You should probably try and challenge this. Push them out. Yeah, good.
See the wolf's eyes.
Okay, you're kind of giving up your angle here though, right? You're going on a flank, which, you know, okay, taking angles is good, but that's not the angle that you want, right? Because this is going to give you a lot more cover. This is going to pressure people into this back corner or pressure people into this room, and your team's going to be able to follow through on that, right? You're running. Oh, it's already switched to Ryan now, so we'll watch a little bit of Ryan gameplay too, I guess. But right, like what do you do in this angle? You're covered. You're going to be in their back line. They have a soldier who can push you. They have a hog that can hook you, right? What are you going to be able to do at that back line that you wouldn't be able to do here, right? Because here at least you pressure people enough that either they die or they have to back into this corner, or you have point control by standing here, and you have this flank control, right? So it's the same thing that we talked about with the Junkrat during the last practice, of like certain positions are just more powerful.
Better.
Please hit that, right? Well, you know, something checks for you and you get killed, right? Now you're in a weird position, right? While you're safe in that room for the time being, like you wanted to pressure them into the room so that your buddy on Ryan could swing, right? Now everybody's just split. It's awkward. It's a mess. People are crying. Like it's just not good, right? And now you and this hog are trapped in this room right now. There was something I like that you did though. That right here. You hear that soldier? This is a creative Sonic arrow. You're trying to figure out what the situation is, right? And because you do that, you're able to follow through. Like your hog appreciates that you did this, right? Because you heard him. You knew that he was going to be coming from somewhere, and being ready to check for the drop without being obvious about it was good, right? So kind of lets you know when you can come out of your hidey hole. And you got an advantage, right? Now your hog needs help. You've been wandering around. Don't throw your dragons here. Not gonna be able to do anything about it. You die here. Okay. Now you're Ryan trying to figure out what to do. He's just taking shield damage. He's fighting on corners. It's okay. I highly recommend that you get into this fight soon, right? You can possibly dragon to get in here, right? You can do a dragon rush if you wanted to push them out of this lane, or what I've done here. So you take a lot of damage on entry. You keep going into this room, and I don't understand why, because the angle that you have from this... Okay, well you got the mercy, so I guess I'm telling. The angle that you have from this room is very shallow, right? And it's very pushable, right? You think about, you know, they're running Ryan. They're running soldier, they're running hog. Like people can just challenge you in this room and kill you. Here, when you're a lot more open, you can play with a lot more range. It's a lot harder, right? It's a lot harder to play with that. You go ahead in the overtime. Right, you're challenging the soldier. Getting zapped in the back. You run to the room. You're praying to God that you get healing at some point.
Approaches unseen.
But yeah, it's very hard for you to do anything from that room because like you're low damage. People are watching each side. Like you're kind of in a weird place, right? Good shot. You're getting lots of really good fadeaways. So I think like I don't know how you're doing it, honestly. You're hitting a lot of really good shots. I think just because of the sheer volume of arrows that you're throwing out. Right. Alright, but what happens here? Right? Same thing. Keep forgetting that wipes. Right. It's like what's happening here? Okay. Your Hog's taking a flank, which is good. Like Hog's denying that left side. Your McCree's here getting pocketed, trying to deny that side. But he's getting pushed out just by the sheer tank presence, right? And you're here on point. You're not really controlling much here, right? Like the two of you aren't really controlling much. If Ryan was holding here, then maybe you're doing a little bit more because you prevent your whoever's here from getting pushed. You don't have the heals to sustain that though, which is a problem. But by being here, you cause an immediate problem and you don't let them walk in for free. Or even having Hanzo here to spam, like you don't let them walk in for free, right? Without taking a bunch of damage or pressure overall. And then you walk in front of your Ryan's shield. Ryan's trying to save you, and you just disrespect them. Everyone gets hooked, and that's I think it for the point. Actually, is it that? No, it's not for the point. All right, you throw dragons in just to do something, get some damage, stun them into this room. Oh, you cancel a shatter. That's cool. I like that you waited for this. I like that you didn't go into the room here. Because I almost feel like, and maybe this wasn't intentional, but I almost feel like you're waiting for this res to happen by staying out here and shooting at the Mercy. As soon as you see her go in, you're ready to punish her, right? Like, Mercy thought she could do something and you didn't let her. This is a good punish. Alright, that's fine. You did your job. You did what needed to happen. Sim just got you chunked down. Right. This angle is better than where you were because you're able to see a little bit more and get a little bit more pressure. And then you go back to your room again, right? Like you hide in this room and look what happens. Junkrat has you right where he wants you. He's this tiny room. And you die for it, right? Because you decide that you want to control point, and then you decide that you want to control this room. And the short range is hard to Hanzo, right? But what if you were here? What if you prevent them from taking pillars? What if you prevent that soldier from having such a nice, long, open line of sight? Or prevent the Ryan from just doing something goofy like that's just weird. That's just weird, but he's like getting saved for it. Right? Think about where the pressure needs to be exerted. And that room is just not it. So that's it for that map.
Ready for battle.
Okay. I think you're trying to get some lucky headshots, but it would be much more valuable if you went up here and took an angle, or went here and took an angle. Right? This is the same map that we were talking about map control on too, so this should be something that like you understand now, and can at least think about how to use on this map, right? You back out. I think, and look, you're considering it, right? You're considering the angle that you need to take. But you weren't here earlier, and your Ryan gets melted, right? Because you're just kind of doing some silly pot shots, and you weren't able to put pressure in time, so that your Ryan was like, if you had been putting pressure on their Ryan, your Ryan would not have taken that much damage. Do you understand? Right? Now it doesn't help that they're running Sim. They've got turrets here, and Ryan's here and getting flash, right? Like Ryan's kind of in a bad way getting the main tank experience, but you know you're still setting up. You're still setting up when you had plenty of time to do so, and now you're like, oh shoot, I need to be up here, right? You're just remembering. And like, look at how this works out, right? McCree's kind of struggling to hit you. You're farming dragon off of them. You're already at 30%. Actually, looking at this, like you're one of the higher, well, your Junkrat did a lot of damage, but you're like one of the higher ult charge players here. Like you're doing more here in this moment, just by like getting pressure in and getting damage in, right? You forced fade, right? Imagine if you had forced that fade at the beginning of the fight, and Moira suddenly didn't have an escape option, and she was at 25 HP, right? What if you had done this earlier? I saw why you died earlier. That was kind of funny. Is this rat moves you up here, and she happens to run into you, right? Like this is completely accidental that the Zarya finds you. But the angle you have was good, right? Like, set the colors back, right? Like look at what you're getting done up here. There's pressure. You needed to be doing this pressure earlier. Maybe also focusing on a target like a little bit more precisely, but like Shield's taking damage, Moira's having to use cooldowns, McCree's not watching the flank anymore, Sim's not watching the flank anymore. Like you're doing a lot by drawing attention purely because you're not where they're expecting it, right? Purely because you're right there. And this is the map control that we're looking at, right? Like look at what you're getting done. Is now you're starting to create that concave shape around them. You're getting this little U-bend, taking angles, right? And you die because of silly little accident, right? But you need to be there earlier to ease the pressure off of your team because the area that they got pushed, that kill box, went unchecked for so long that the other team was able to just run it, right? What if you were there sooner? Also, you keep throwing out Sonic Arrow really like early, which like it'd be good if you could see something, but you're also throwing it into places where it's not gonna gain value. And, like it'd be kind of nice to get out of here. But then I saw this too earlier. Same thing, right? This is the same exact thing that just happened, right? Where's this Ryan looking at? Ryan's waiting for everybody to push at him from underneath, and you're set up on the angle. Like you should, now with that Moira down, win this fight. You should win this fight because your team is engaging and you have the angle, and this Ryan cannot push. This Ryan cannot fight back in a way that he would like. You win this? Yeah, Ryan's got back out. Ryan goes. Okay, Ryan's goofy. Oh, you just gotta hit those, bud. Choose one. He dies. Ryan dies. Right? Okay. Melee the thing. Nice. See? You took an angle. You punished them for being where they wanted to be. You won the point. Like, it was a little bit sloppy. It didn't go quite as nicely as you wanted, but they used their ults. They made some swaps. They reconsidered their plan of attack, right? And it's all because you took a good angle at the same time that your team was engaging, right? You put pressure on them when they couldn't afford for it to happen. Now, you know, you should have won this, let's see. At what point were you pushing? Okay, Moira totally through there. Like, this is good, right? Because that Ryan wants to be swinging, and now he's got a shield or he's gonna die, right? That Hog could be doing something else there too, right? And then over here, you're Ryan taking some pressure, but it's alleviated because you're in the right area at the right time, keeping their Ryan off of him, and now he's able to go, right? Do you see how not only are you getting damage in, not only are you charging up your ult, you're also allowing your team to do something, right? This, you should have just peeked it early, gone for the full headshot, walked out as soon as you missed it, right? It's like you keep challenging it, and he's probably locked on you, and he just fires at the wrong time. But you could have died for that, for sure. Good storm though. Right. So things are just a little sloppy here in the cleanup, and how things are executed. Like that, McCree could have died sooner. We got a lot done, right? Like you played that fight as you needed to, and that made sense. That was good map control in that moment. So good job. I'm glad to see that these things are starting to break through. Now I will say at this point I think you need to swap, right? Just because you're running Rat, Ryan, Hog, Hanzo. Like this fair's gonna give you trouble. I can already feel it. Unless you're like a god Hanzo, unless you're like the Raksu of high school, like. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hit this Pharaoh. Right, so it's like McCree would be good here. Or a hit scan. Ashe, McCree, Tracer if you want, Widow if you're feeling it. You want to sound a sniper, right? Now, something you didn't do was think about this lane because this Pharaoh was distracting you. Did you know that they were pushing this way? Did you have any idea that they were here? Alright. Look at what happens. Everybody's looking at the sky, everybody's looking at main. And look at the map control that you have. It's pretty non-existent, right? It's concentrated fully on the point. And so, the problem you run into is now this Sim starting to go behind you. She gets a teleport set up. Farah's looking at main. The rest of the team's putting pressure on the side, and now your team's got the concave set up on you, right? Direct parallels to what we were talking about yesterday. I would like to see a little bit more decisiveness with the dragon. You could have meleeed the Zarya when she was low, right? But if dragon had come out earlier to stop that push, that would have been double, right? And Farah's already got her ult. Farah's got her ult by doing nothing but pressuring one angle, right? They played that better than you all. Okay, so you do switch the Ashe, that's good. Yeah, you don't need to go that steep for the height. Alright, let's look at the situation. Map control, map control, map control. What's happening here? Okay, Ryan's in a weird spot. Farah's looking at the side here. She's watching the left side and this main. Sim's able to shoot down main. Ryan's in a bit of a weird spot. I don't know where their Zarya is. Where's the Zarya? Am I dumb? Oh, Zarya was in there too. I just didn't see her. Right. So that Ryan's not going to be able to get any help, but there's nobody also on that flank right now, so he's not feeling any pressure. McCree's taking a good angle. He's got a sight line on the Farah. Farah's going to have to do something about that, right? Either like back out or whatnot. Oh, you're rat switch too. So you're running double hit scan. A little bit slow of an angle. I would have thrown dynamite there. Dynamite would have killed. I think you did the wrong thing there. And this wall's pretty big too, right? Because that prevents you from being able to do anything without pushing in, right? I want to look at the situation too. Like, do you notice how much trouble you're having to regain the spot? I want to watch what your Mercy sees. Why does your Mercy die?
Let me get you patched up.
Mercy just takes too much damage trying to come out, right? Because it's Farah. And we'll watch the Farah's perspective now. What does this Farah have going for her? She has full control over the high ground. Basically, she needs to ego this McCree.
Clearing the area.
She's playing behind the pillar. She doesn't want to get killed while she's landing down. But all she has to do is spam that high ground, right? Prevent that angle. Boom. She's won that angle now. And there's nothing this McCree can do. She can't get help. So, a lot of things just kind of snowballed out of control. Because the first fight just went on. Or the first fight was lost very, very early, and you were not able to get a real fight going until like 40%, so things just took too long with your team. Right? Because when does this real fight happen? When do you get set up here? Like 30%, this is when a fight can start happening, right? So, yeah, think about the angles that you're taking with Hanzo. Mechanically, it's okay, but think about the utility and how you use it and where you're positioning yourself, right? There's just a lot of areas that you are holding that are really, really weird. Namely, the first fight, right? Not here. This is a good one, but oh, well, this is the same angle.
Ready for battle.
I'm playing 2 times speed, right? You're going to
Very well.
play it.
4, 3, 2, 1.
See that
Right.
which is unseen.
Like, you spend this time just wasting shots and not getting anything set up, right? You're playing the same angle as your Junkrat. All the spam is coming from the same angle. And here, I mean, they're kind of running at you as well. But now, like, the McCree takes the side. McCree takes the side, it's kind of just GG from here, right? What does he do? And he gets a stun. He's able to approach this Ryan from an angle he's not suspecting. And they've got control over the situation, right? So think about how you want to set up. This map was just kind of a wash here, but the first map was looking really, really good. Village was a good one. I think that's gonna be it for the stream tonight. But hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching.